Hey, I'm about to show you a bunch of bullet points that are really boring. This is a PowerPoint presentation, and everything should be,
Boring!
Oh.
Dave, what in the name of Nostradamus' beard are you doing?
Oh, hey everybody, this is Rizzini the Wizard. Hey Rizzini, I was just showing everyone the new effects for Character Animator, all the new
Dave,
pictures.
come on, man. Look at this audience. I mean, let's be honest. Half of them are only here because they want to get a good seat for Andrew Kramer.
Yeah, that's true.
But regardless,
That's true.
they
Yeah.
want something special, something exciting, some of the old razzle-dazzle, huh?
Okay, well, I could do like a demo workflow, walk through some key components and optimizations. I think people are going to be pretty excited about our new vector fidelity options because they really...
Shh. Oh, for the love of Hufflepuff, this is awful. I can't take it anymore. Okay, come here. I'm teleporting you into the computer.
Wait, teleport me into the computer? What do you mean? What's going on?
Whoa, I'm a cartoon character.
Yes, you are definitely a cartoon character, and you are definitely not just ducking behind the podium on the stage. Okay, so tell me, what does Character Animator do?
Well, it lets you take any Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator file, in any style you can possibly imagine, and use your webcam and microphone to bring those creations to life. So when you move your head in the webcam, your character moves their head. When you blink or raise your eyebrows, they do the same. And when you talk, they automatically lip sync in real time. So acting and talking naturally translates into an animated performance.
Okay, so while I deal with the existential crisis of finding out I'm just a Photoshop file, what can you do with these characters?
Well, a few things. You can record a performance and use the timeline to do frame-by-frame editing or blending performances together. And then you can either export it as a video through Adobe Media Encoder, or use Dynamic Link to send your creations to Premiere Pro or After Effects for more compositing and editing options. Or you can live stream your character to places like Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, essentially letting you do live, real-time animation.
I don't believe it. This sounds way too good to be true.
No, it is true, and you might not realize it, but more and more of the animated content you see out there in the world is starting to get made with Character Animator.
Like what? Probably some no-name stuff I've never heard about.
But what about The Simpsons Homer Live episode? Or cartoon Donald Trump on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert? Or Showtime's Our Cartoon President? Or my personal favorite, My Little Pony's recent Facebook live stream.
My Little Pony? Are you kidding me? I'm a total brony. Scootaloo and the rest of the Cutie Mark Crusaders are my favorites. I just love... wow, that's quite the technical achievement.
Yeah, the team at Avatar Labs, who made the live My Little Pony segment, are actually going to be speaking about how they pulled this off in another one of these Adobe NAB presentations. So make sure to come back and check that out.
Okay, but these people are professional animators. What about people like me, who have no animation skills whatsoever?
You're in good company because tons of YouTubers, Instagrammers, and hobbyists are making some of the coolest stuff out there with Character Animator. And we have tons of free example puppets that anyone can get started with animating right away. In fact, a certain bearded wizard is one of those examples.
Wait. So, I'm just a puppet? Anyone can take control of me and make me say whatever they want?
Yeah, anything. I mean, hypothetically, I could make you sing the chorus to Wolves by pop sensation Selena Gomez and acclaimed producer Marshmello.
Ha! Yeah, right. I will never. I'll be running to the jungle. I'll be running with the wolves to get to you. Oh no, you're right. You monster! Curse you, Adobe!
Hey, so I really have to get back to the real world. Can you teleport me back? This clay is really starting to chafe my...
Okay, that's enough. Baz Adobe Ra!
Thank you. I tried to get some pyrotechnics, but apparently they have regulations against that. So Character Animator, we've been out for a while, since beta release for a few years now, but we had our 1.0 launch in the fall, and what we've seen is Character Animator has, number one, opened up animation to a new, wider audience, made it more accessible to newcomers, but secondly, also been used for professionals who are interested in using Character Animator for faster workflows, doing things quicker turnarounds, as well as live streaming stuff, doing live animation, which kind of feels like a strange concept. So the nice thing with Character Animator is you can do a lot of triggers. I can make this guy appear, disappear. He's talking as I'm talking. It's doing real live lip sync as I'm talking. And it's not, there's a crowd here, so it's not as perfect as it would be in an office. But it just happens automatically, and you're just moving around, and an animated character made from Photoshop or Illustrator starts to perform. So there's a lot of new features that we've added in this latest release. And one of the big ones is there's a ton more template characters to get started from. So when you first open up the app, you see a bunch of different template characters, including this clay animated scientist character is made out of Sculpey modeling clay, this gorilla here, the wizard character that you just saw, and a chicken physics project, which I'll be showing in just a second. So these are a great way to get started with your projects and learning about what you can do with Character Animator. If you want to make a flying five-eyed monster with tentacles, there's actually a template character for that. Just click on this little See More red monster character, and he'll take you to a ton of more free example characters to get started learning from. But I was talking about the Chicken Blaster, and that's kind of showing off one of the new elements we've added into Character Animator, which is a physics system. There's a whole physics simulation engine within Character Animator now. So if I click on one of these boxes, for example, this is just a layer in the original Photoshop file, and I've tagged it as Collide and Dynamic. Dynamic just means it's going to be subject to the laws of gravity. It'll start falling down when I start the scene. And collide just means it's going to collide with any other objects in the scene. Now, if I move over here, I've got a chicken. And if I select the chicken, I see that he has a behavior associated with it. A behavior is kind of like a special rule that you can add to any Photoshop or Illustrator group or layer to give it special powers. So if I want a character to breathe in and out, I add the breathe behavior. If I want it to walk back and forth around the screen, I add the walk behavior. Or in this case, if I want to make chickens fly out of a cannon, I use the particles behavior to do that. And then I've got a ton of options down here about what's the type of particle mode, what's the spread, velocity, all of that stuff. And what that allows me to do is create a physics simulation like this. And the chickens start flying out of the cannon and shoot. Now, I've been streaming this on Twitch every night, and this is becoming the hottest game. Fortnite has nothing on Chicken Blaster. It's a great game. But I'm running into a lot of trouble knocking off these last boxes. I'm having trouble. Well, that kind of helped. But I'm running into trouble getting these last boxes. So what I'm going to do is go to my controls panel. And any character or scene that you have, you're allowed to bring in custom controls that you can use to, in real time, affect what's going on in the scene. So anything with a dotted line over here, I can actually drag in and add to my controls panel and do whatever I want. So you can use this for your puppets for live scenarios or recorded scenarios to have really custom controls. And these can also be hooked up to MIDI devices if you want to do real-time knobs and sliders and that sort of stuff. So, okay, I'm going to turn gravity strength down to 0 gravity, particles per second up, and velocity up. And now I've got a rapid-fire zero-gravity Chicken Blaster. And that's pretty fun. So I do this a minimum of 45 minutes at my desk every day just to get things started. So most likely in an animated piece you're doing, you're not going to do a chickens flying out of a cannon. More likely you want particles and physics for something like a weather effect. So here I've got this umbrella attached to my tracking with my face, and as I move my head left and right, the umbrella is moving, but it's also hitting these rain particles that are flying down from the top of the scene. And all these are these little rice grain particles that layers in Photoshop that it just added the particles behavior to, and it just starts working. So whether you want that or chickens falling out of the sky or whatever, you have the ability to do this and add whatever sorts of effects, whether it's falling leaves or snow or anything like that. So it just adds a little bit of extra life and atmosphere, and it's really easy to set up. I've never seen an easier way to set up an interactive, physics system like this. So we've seen a lot of people doing recorded pieces with Character Animator, and like this guy, I could have rigged this guy up in After Effects. I could have used a whole complicated system, and then I would have had to keyframe it and make it kind of look natural, and have him sway back and forth and do all the lip sync manually. But here, I can just kind of move, and this image that you're seeing here is the face tracking that's happening with any standard webcam is going to work with this. And then I can just kind of sway from side to side. Notice his hair is automatically dangling. The physics are working. I can strum with the mouse. I'm just doing the guitar back and forth. I can give him triggered eyes to be happy. And this is a much more fun and fast and easier way to animate this sort of content. And so we're seeing a lot of people like, a lot of shows out there and movies and whatnot are starting to use character animated because there's a faster turnaround and you get these really nice natural performances. Now, one thing we've added a lot, we see with traditional animation, a real traditional thing, something you see a lot is the pose-to-pose animation workflow. So normally, animated characters aren't always moving around like this. They're going from one pose to the next, to a point, to hands on the hips, or something like that. So we've given more tools to work with that sort of traditional workflow. And one of those is the scene snapshot tool. So if I go have a recording here that I did of this character, and I can kind of drag through it and see the recorded performance that I did, and that looks good. And at any time, actually, like if I don't like this mouth shape, I just right-click it, I do another mouth, and there I can easily change it. If I didn't like his eyes being closed there, I can move this over. So even though you're recording it live, you have a lot of options after the fact that you can change in your timeline to get things working just right. That's a great pose right there, actually. I like that. But if this is a key pose that I want to move between or move from one pose to the next, I can go to Scene, Take Snapshot. And then what that lets me do is have this kind of ghosted onion skin style image that shows me a reference point for that key pose. And then I could say, okay, this is it. I record for a second, and then I say I want to do another pose, and then I move over here. Or I could do this live. So I've got my, I want to kind of reference. I want him to strum up here, move his hand, close his eyes, record, do another pose, and it's a really easy way to go from pose to pose style animation. So it's a really nice way to go about that. Triggers are one of the biggest things that we've made a ton of improvements. I think like 25 different improvements to triggers and how they work. And what I mean by a trigger is, at its most simple state, a trigger is just a way you show or hide artwork. So for example, if I want this guy to feel like he just ate at the food court out there, I could press this, and his mouth gets all wiggly like that. I actually haven't had lunch yet, so it might be good this year. I don't know. Or he grits his teeth. Or you can see as soon as I trigger like a sad mouth set, his expression immediately changes. He starts to feel a little bit, his emotion is a little bit different. So triggers, you add a lot of triggers to your character, you get a lot more dynamics, a lot more expressive flexibility. Even his arms can be triggered to play out these frame-by-frame animations that occur in the piece. And so here's an example. This character that was at the beginning, this clay sculpted character, that I made out of Sculpey modeling clay, he actually has the head turner behavior associated with him. So when I turn my head from the left to right, he's automatically turning his head. And this is just in the Photoshop file. I made a front, quarter, and profile view and put the artwork in the correct places for that. But there's some additional things that I want to add to this character. So let's go into him in rig mode. And that was scary. And here's that poof animation. So remember in the beginning he says hello and this word bubble pops up. And there's this clay and then hello, and it looks like it's kind of bursting out. And this is just a folder in Photoshop with a kind of a 5-layer animation. And so all I have to do to play this back, it's got the cycle layers behavior added to it, which basically means just go through things, when triggered, bottom from top, go every 2 frames. I'm teaching it the rules of how this frame-by-frame animation should play. And then I'm just going to drag it into the triggers panel over create trigger. I'm going to put a 1 key next to it. I'll click latch, which is just like turning it on and off like a light switch. Go back to record mode. And now when I press 1, this hello thing appears and this sequence plays back. And I press 1 again and it goes away. So this is a really common thing, is adding a lot of these frame-by-frame animations to your character to add a little bit of extra surprise and emotion to them. Now with the hands down here, he's got 3 hands that are showing up, 3 different hand positions, but I only want to trigger one of those at a time. So luckily you don't have to remember, like, I have to press 2 and make sure 3 and 4 are off. We have these things called swap sets. So what you can do is I've got my hand group here, and inside I've got point, wave, and back. So all I'm going to do is drag this whole group in here and say create swap set. And I'm going to make point the default. Whichever one of these has the filled in little hand icon, trigger icon, that's the one that's going to be the default that first shows up when you start the scene. But then I'm going to make wave with the 2 key, back with the 3 key, and I'm going to latch both of these. And now I've got a system that makes it easy to bring in different hand positions. So 2, 3, you can see I'm going between all the different positions. So this is really common for a character to have a point or palm swap or thumbs up or peace sign or whatever, it makes it really easy to alternate between a lot of those different states. Now, something that After Effects and Premiere and some of the other Adobe apps have had for a while that we just added are keyboard shortcuts. So you can see here all the different shortcuts. Well, we've always had keyboard shortcuts, I should say, but the ability to edit them and see them in a format like this. So I can take any of these that I want to, and if I wanted Shift B to be this, I can just drag this over, and this is my new shortcut to add to this. So this makes workflow optimization a lot easier. If there's certain actions you're doing over and over again, this makes it incredibly simple to do. Now, one of the best parts about Character Animator is how it integrates with other Adobe products like After Effects and Premiere Pro. Personally, I use it with After Effects all the time because we have After Effects Dynamic Link. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's close this guy down and open up After Effects. And I have a project here, NAB. And it's this just simple comp that has a little bit of parallax going on. It kind of goes over, there's a nice little light there, and it goes to this kind of interrogation room scene. So if I want to add a recorded animation that I've done in Character Animator, all I have to do is import by double-clicking over here, find my chproj file, Character Animator project file, open that up. It'll give me a list of any scenes that I've recorded in there. I'll click this, OK. And then that is going to bring it and import it as a dynamic linked element. And so what I could do is bring Suzanne, drag her in here. This is a robot character. Let's scale her down, put her behind the desk maybe. I'll attach her to the desk, something like that. And just like that, now I've got a character that has been integrated into my After Effects scene. It's going a little slow because it has to render it all together. But you get the basic idea. So this is a really common workflow, is I will record my character performances in Character Animator for 1, 2, 3 characters, composite them all together in a scene, and then add the lighting and the cameras and the foreground and background elements. And it's a really great workflow. It works really, really well. And in fact, I'm not just up here saying all this because I'm a UI designer on the team. I am honestly using Character Animator for my own projects, even outside of work. And so this is the latest project that I'm working on, Evan Flamethrower Robot Detective. This is going to be an interactive YouTube cartoon where you interrogate different robots about a hacked bank account, choosing which questions to ask, trying to catch up characters in their own lives, and eventually making an accusation. So it's kind of like an interactive choose-your-own-adventure story. There's good endings, there's bad endings, there's a lot of robots exploding and that sort of stuff. It's an idea that I've had in my head for a while, but I love to draw, I love to make music, I love to write, but character animation always felt scary, and I didn't feel like I could do something like this. But those ideas were just stuck inside my imagination instead of being able to bring them out into reality. And luckily, Character Animator has allowed me to kind of realize that and bring this out. And all told, it's probably about 30 minutes or so of an animated cartoon, which is a pretty cool thing. So that's a quick look at all the Character Animator stuff, but I want to show you one last thing. And this is a preview of something that's coming out soon, and it is really awesome stuff. And the idea is that it's eventually going to be part of Character Animator. So this is a sneak preview of a new technology. So last year at Adobe Max, during the sneaks part of the presentation, there was this thing called Project Puppetron. And this is the idea where you can take a photograph of your face and apply an artwork style to it to immediately get this new kind of stylized character. So for example, at Max, they took the host, Kumail Nanjiani, and turned him into different types of illustrations. So like this Lincoln-type bearded character or a lion. And this was his reaction to that. He was kind of bewildered and amazed, or what's going on here? I don't know what's happening. Well, I'm happy to say that this is not just a tech demo. This is real. It's in beta right now, and it is coming to Character Animator in the near future. And I'm going to show you the beta of it right now. So let's go into Puppetron here and bring this up. Let me close After Effects just so that doesn't do anything. So this is Puppetron, a really basic version of it right now. So I'm going to click this kind of I'm ready process. And basically, you would be guided through the step-by-step process of taking pictures of your face at these different phases. So I would do like I'm ready, OK, neutral, closed, smile, and so on and so forth. There's about 15 steps that you would go through. And once you do that, not only do you get this beautiful disembodied head that shows up, but you have the ability to quickly add styles to it. So if I wanted to look any illustration, any photograph, anything you can find out there, just click it and you can immediately stylize yourself into that style. So this makes it incredibly easy to do a whole bunch of things. I want to look like a bronze statue. I just click on that and I have the ability to do that. I'm going to look like a lion. I can do that. This kind of bearded character or Fight Club style character. And I can also change the amount of parameters as well. So if I really want it to look like the source image, I move the stylization strength up. If I want it to look a little bit less and more like my face, my original face and photo, I move the stylization strength down. I usually do about 25% or so for this sort of thing. Even like a painted look, it's really cool to immediately be able to do this. And if I press the space bar, I'll actually go between the different face phrases that I did. That's a nice one. And show all the different face styles. Now, the really cool thing is you can add this thing, frame synthesis, which will kind of give it this live look style. So you can see it looks like it's kind of a hand-drawn, live animated thing. Like even a simple thing like this. Here's a really simple face picture, like sketch that someone put together, and even that, I can get a really cool, unique style to my face. Let's turn that off and go to some of these other characters. Here's what it look like that. Here's what it look like with a beard. Okay, so what can you do with this? This is great and fun to play around with, but what can I actually do with this, and how does it relate to Character Animator? Well, you could export things as an individual frame, or export it as a puppet, which plays back into Character Animator. And that's where things get really interesting, because then you can, you're able to make these immediate animated characters in whatever style you want. So for example, if I want to look like I'm on a dollar bill, there we go. Hey, everybody. And if I turn the microphone off, I can do a surprise face or smile, and it'll react to those things as well. So I made a character like this in just 5 minutes. No art knowledge required, nothing like that. Just my face and fooling around with a few parameters, and I'm ready to go. I can make a coin here, linking on a coin. Hey, that's fun. If I want to recreate Aha's Take On Me video, this is probably the best way to do it. Something like this. I won't sing for you today, but you get the idea. And then, a painted type thing as well, like a portrait, and I added the body to move around with it. So there's a lot of awesome possibilities. We are really excited about this technology, and we need your feedback to make it better. So if you are interested in checking this out, I'm going to show the links kind of at the last slide here. So this is the thing to take a photo of right now. Thank you, taking your photos out. Or if you're watching online, take a screenshot of this. The video tutorials. This is where we have all our tutorials on Adobe's site and my YouTube channel. We have teach you all the basics. Anything you need to know about triggers, physics, setting up your own puppets, that's the place to go. Free example puppets. We have probably over 50 example puppets that you can download, check out, use as an example. You can use them royalty-free, do whatever you want with them in your own videos that you make, or take them apart, take their mouths out of, take their eyes, whatever you need for your own creations. And finally, if you are interested in being the first people to test Project Puppetron, the beta of that, go to that website, sign up. We'll be giving more and more people access to it on a rolling basis, and we'd love to hear what you think. We have a booth in the back too, so please come by and say hi and ask questions and see some of this stuff for yourself. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Stay around for Andrew Kramer. See ya.